5th of October, Rabbi Furst, Pierke Avos.
Popcorn. I have to make some.
Good stuff.
Good morning again. Good morning, Roy. Good morning, Lou.
Good morning,
Morning,
Rabbi.
Rabbi.
How's everyone today?
Baruch Hashem.
Appreciate.
Very good. Okay. Yeah. Good morning, this is Rabbi Shlomo Furst here. Yeshiva Tzalman here in Yerushalayim Kerem Zoom. We are learning about disobedience, right? The consequences and the ramifications thereof. So, in understanding a little bit about what occurred here, so we're trying to deal with the question that the ground, the earth, was disobedient in not creating the trees in the way HaKadosh Baruch Hu commanded. That commanded HaKadosh Baruch Hu wanted the trees that they should taste, the wood of the tree should taste as the fruit of the tree. And actually, I wanted to clarify something that I said. I think it was on Erev Shabbos that we were trying to understand what the divine wisdom was for the creation of trees that tasted the same as their fruit. So I had said on Erev Shabbos that it could be an opportunity for people to exercise their free will, that to control themselves, because knowing that if they would eat up the tree, they wouldn't have any fruit for the next season, that they would have to exercise free will. But I'm not so happy with that answer, to tell you the truth. I was thinking about it yesterday. Oh, good morning, Mayor. How are you today?
Morning.
Right. So, but I was thinking, but maybe that's not exactly what's going on here, because that might be good for people, for human beings. But what are you going to say about the all the deer and the antelope and all the prairie giraffes? They wouldn't be required to exercise any free will, and if the wood was as tasty as the fruits, they would simply just like they eat up the leaves of the trees and bushes, according to their particular diets. So those animals that like to eat the fruits, they would like to eat the trees also. So we're sort of back to the original question: what was the divine wisdom in Kadosh Baruch Hu wanting the trees to be created in a way that their flavor of the wood would be the same flavor as their fruit? I don't have a good answer, and because the trees, that either the trees or the ground reasoned, well, if the fruits and the trees tasted the same way, so the trees will be consumed. The trees would be consumed, and there wouldn't be any trees left after a while, right? So therefore, we have to make a change here. So that wasn't exactly following orders, and because of that, there was a klala in place. It was sort of in limbo on the ground, a klala on the ground, until Adam himself sinned, and then as Rashi explains there, the sin of Adam Rishon compounded the punishment of the earth at that time as well. So it's not clear exactly why that is. One second. And you realize also that even though that the eight was not created as a Kadosh Baruch Hu wanted to be created, right? It still was considered to be, if I'm not mistaken, so Kadosh Baruch Hu still gave his agreement, his tov. It was still considered tov, right? Right. the pasuk in the very first chapter there in the pasukim beginning with Yud Aleph. Yomer Elokim to the Shei Haaretz Desha Esav Mazriya Zera Eitz Pri Osa Pri Eitz Pri. That's the point. Eitz Pri Osa Pri, right? An Eitz Pri, and a wood of the Pri should make fruit. So on that. Right, Rashi says eitz pri shiyat tam ha'etz ketam ha'pri. But he lo osakin. Rashi says he didn't do it. Right? Ella totzi haaretz eitz osa pri, and eitz which is osa pri. Lo eitz pri. The fikrak niskalkel kishisnakel adam shalavono nifkada gam kein alavon. No. Right. So what we can do? How can we explain what was the divine wisdom in create and wanting to have fruit trees taste like their fruit? Let's take a look here. Maybe I can find something quickly.
How would they, how would the trees taste, or how would they be if they weren't like their fruit?
I guess that would be the way they are now. Meaning, if, I don't know, if you ever try and take a bite into some wood of a tree, it's probably not going to be very appetizing.
Yeah, yeah.
But you know, we even today, we have a problem in the world that people are destroying the trees, even without them tasting good.
Right.
There's a whole controversy about the rainforest and how, remember in Los Angeles, there was a big sign on the side of a building. How much of the rainforest was destroyed, and you could see the number ticking. You know, as you're sitting there looking at the sign, that it's being destroyed constantly by fires and by man.
Mm-hmm.
But that's a different thing to what we're talking about here.
Saying even if Hashem was concerned, or if the earth was concerned that if it made the trees taste like the fruit, people would destroy the trees. I'm saying that's a valid concern, because even without that, we have today, modern times, we have a problem with people destroying trees.
Well, trees have already been used for firewood, and they're part of our natural resources. So, the question is, you should use conservation. You should try and use it in a respectful and in a proper manner, not to abuse the resource. But it's a resource there for us to be used. But
overused, it's not good for the ecology.
Yeah, sure. It's like wheat. Like you grow wheat and you harvest the wheat, and it grows and it's used, makes food. So but I think I think it's more of a concern, like that how not necessarily the people would maybe but the animals would abuse it more than people, because they'd be very you can imagine what the monkeys would do to banana trees. Yeah.
But the question then, though, is that you want us to answer is why would Hashem want the same taste as the fruit.
Oh, that's the question. I'm trying to search here, try and find out some explanation of why the Kadosh Baruch Hu intended that should be the way it should be originally. Meaning, obviously, if Hashem intended that would be the proper way to do it, apparently that was the best way for it to be created, right?
The only thing I can think of is that it groups the plant, all parts of the plant, identifies the plant as being an apple tree and a trunk of an apple tree, so you, for some reason, won't confuse them. But why this would be, I don't know. But that's the sort of the lines that I could think of anyway. I don't know at the moment what else.
Right.
Maybe it's to give the trunk some status. It's not just the bearer of fruit, the support for the fruit.
Right.
It has a role to play.
Yeah. It shouldn't just be a like a stalk. Like a lot of, because that's what happens with especially vegetables, right? Especially vegetables where the stalks don't last from year to year, they're simply discarded, right? They just, if you ever notice, if you've had watch vegetables grow, so the stalks, the plants that the fruits of vegetables grow on, so they produce, sometimes they produce, like, for example, they can take, for example, a watermelon. You have this watermelon that comes from this vine, which is a very flimsy thing compared to the watermelon itself, right? Many times that the vine itself is much more flimsy and has less mass than the actual vegetable or the fruit that it produces.
Mm. Mm.
Oh, so okay, going back to one of the original questions, one of the Meforshim, when we learn Shulchan Aruch, we're learning the words of Rabbi Yosef Cairo, the Mechaber. So believe it or not, he wrote a Perish on Chumash as well. You know that? It's called Toldos Yitzchak. Called Toldos Yitzchak. And he asked the question here. He asked the question, right? He says, Efshar shel aretz lo oset sivu Hashem yisbarach. How is it possible that the land should not do the command of a Kadosh Baruch Hu, right? She'ein davar toli b'ritzono. Maybe let's see, hold on. Maybe it's worthwhile.
Well, maybe Hashem did that so that the land could assert some authority. So the land could refuse, give it some status.
Right.
Dust.
Yeah.
Like so So it can take its place as a viable creation, not just sort of being dust and that's it. I want to make myself known. I want to be accountable.
Right.
So Hashem provides one way of doing that.
Right. Right. Okay, you know what? I'm gonna send this out. Let me see if I can't send this out in a moment or two. And we can learn it inside. Let's see. Let's see what we can learn about this. Okay. Okay, everyone can, I'll try and send it out now individually to everybody. Let's see if I can get an email to everybody, and then we can, you can view it or print it or whatever, and we'll see if we can learn more on this subject here.
Oh, this is an email, so I have to open the email.
Mhm. Okay.
This is October.
All right. Let's. Okay. Okay. So you should all be getting an email in a moment, and then we can try and I'll even try and put this on the screen as well. Very good.
So far, I haven't got. Oh, here we are.
I got it also.
I
Okay.
did too.
Okay, great. And I'm going to put it on the screen as well.
All right, I'll just leave it there. All right. Please save. Download. Okay, I've saved it.
Okay.
I should.
And I guess we can start. It's going to come up on your screen in a moment here.
Here it
Okay.
is.
Here we go. Okay. Let's take a look. Let's see what happens, what we can learn here. Okay. Anyone like to read?
At the moment, oh, all right.
Anyone like to continue to read? We can start if you like.
Okay, I'd like to.
Okay, go ahead, Lou.
So this is the Toldos Yitzchak.
That's a commentary on Chumash written by Rav Yosef Kairu, the Mechaber of the Shulchan Aruch.
Eich Efshar Shehaaretz Lo Ashta CV HaKadosh Baruch Hu. How is it possible that the earth did not do the command of Hashem? She'ein hadavar halui v'ritzono ella v'ritzon HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That there is not anything that is dependent on the will, except the will of Hashem.
Right, meaning that the trees should make fruits, and that the trees should taste like their fruits. That seemed to be a command of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and it's that's something which is regulated to Teva, right? That's something which is to be a natural thing.
Hakabal.
HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
Oh, when HaKadosh Baruch Hu, when Hashem bara ha'olam, created the world, bara hateva, and created nature, Ritzono, according to his will, Bar-O, Velo Nasan Rishus, Liteva, Sheyaseh Ma Sheyitra. And he didn't give permission to nature to do what it wanted to.
Right. Nature has to go according to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, what Hashem wants.
Ella, but the ma'amru, mi'amru, nivra hatova.
Hateva.
Hateva. But in saying that he created nature, the Tevi call hadvarim chazak v'zamein.
That's chok.
Oh, chok. Okay, so the Tevi means its nature.
Right. But Tevi called divine, and the nature of all things
Is that it's a chok, it's a law, uzaman, and a time, nasan lahem, he gave to them. He gave a decree and a time to them. Shalo yashnu es tapkidim, that they should not depart from their purpose.
right.
Sheshayim usmechim.
Right. Sesasim usmechim.
That they should be happy and joyful, to do the will of their acquirer.
Excuse me, can I ask, please, is this the first time that free will has been exercised?
Apparently, right. That's true. That's
Uh-huh.
right. That's right.
Okay. So this is the establishment of free will on the earth.
Right, or the exercise of free will. Right. Exactly. Very good.
Okay, so basically what he said in the first paragraph is, how is it possible that the earth could disobey when everything was created according to God's desire, and God didn't give any permission to anything to do anything different. So there's no permission for the earth to do different. So how could it?
Right, very good.
Va'od she'ein la'aretz b'chira u'ritzon la'asos v'shalo la'asos. And furthermore, there is no free will for the earth, and no desire to do that which is not vasos to be done.
Right. Another question is, the art doesn't have free will, v'ratzon, and a desire, lasos, below lasos, to do and not to do.
Oh, and not to do. Okay. Ella ma shekadosh baruch hu nasan b'teva ta'aseh. But what is it that Hashem gave to nature to do?
Meaning it doesn't have any free will or desire to do or not to do, except mela ma, except what a Kadosh Baruch Hu gave it as its nature to do.
Ah, it's nature to do. Okay. The gam eini mevin ma she'amru shelechein nis kalala biklalas arura ha'adamah. And also, I do not understand what it is that it says that therefore it was cursed with a curse of a curse. The land was cursed with a cursed curse.
Well, it was finish the sentence. It was cursed in the curse of Oror Adama, of the cursing of the land. Meaning, what was it that it was cursed within the curse of the cursing of the land?
V'chi haaretz ba'alas shechol letate la sachar.
No, Vikia Aretz Balis Seichel is the land. Vikia, and is the land, is the earth possessing intelligence that it should be given scar, a reward, or ownership or punishment?
Right. Lechain amarti shehu derash ve'ein me shivim mashivim al hadaresh o yesh lezeh hame omar Torah. Therefore, I say that it is is it an explanation that ein mashivim. I don't know mashivim.
Okay, so therefore I say this is a drush. We'll explain that in a moment. And you don't ask questions on a drush. You can't ask these questions on a drush.
You don't ask on a drush, or there is for this to say what's Torah.
Well, yesh lezeh hamaimer surah, meaning it has a certain there's a certain type of kavana to this mimer, to this statement. There's a specific kavana.
So what is this principle you can't ask on a drosh? I would say adarabba. The purpose of a drosh is to encourage us to ask.
Well, that's a whole subject within of itself, that that you don't really ask questions on drushes or gutters. That's there are different opinions what that exactly means. Does that mean you can't ask any questions whatsoever, or it only means that you can't ask questions which seem to be contradictory? But that's a whole nother topic that,
What exactly is it that it's saying it is a drosh? The fact that the earth disobeyed?
right. I mean,
Sorry, what's the word drosh actually mean?
drush, there's pshat, sod, drush, that's and pshat, sod, drush, and remez. There are basically four types of categories of understanding of the Torah, right? Four different types of perspectives that we take in looking at any particular pasuk in the Torah. So it could be pshat, which is basically pasuk pshat, meaning the basic understanding of the words, or others say that's according to Rashi's pshat. Rashi's pasuk pshat. Then there's remez. There's those things which are the indications of what the pasuk is telling us. Then there's sod. Those are the more secret types of understandings of what the pasuk is telling us. And then there's also drush, that it's a explanation based on an elaboration of the pasuk.
And a drush is the only one that you're not supposed to question?
No, it's more general than that. It could be on the other types as well that you don't really ask questions. Meaning it's not that you don't really ask questions. You take the limud, meaning what's being learned from what the pasuk is telling you. You understand the limud in spite of the fact that you have questions. Sometimes if there's a question, you can't progress in terms of the lesson that you want to learn from the pasuk. But in terms of drasha, if you have a question on the drush, that doesn't stop you. The question doesn't stop you from understanding the lesson that the drush is trying to teach.
From understanding the lesson that what? You dropped out, sorry.
Right, the lashon, the lesson that the pasuk that the Torah is telling the teacher.
Uh-huh.
Meaning, in spite of the question, you still understand and take to heart what the Torah is teaching you, in spite of the question that you might have.
I'm still confused. What is the drush here? We have Rashi, which is the pshat, telling us that the earth disobeyed. Is that the drush in this case that Rashi is saying, or is it something else?
1 minute. 1 minute. Um, 1 second. So what it means a drasha in this context, the obvious pasuk shot of the pasuk. It's going beyond that, and it's teaching us something which is contained in the pasuk, but it's going beyond the actual basic understanding of the pasuk.
Hmm.
I mean, in essence, what he's saying is, so such a thing happened, but it's very difficult for us to understand how and why such a thing happened.
Mhm. I saw we used the word chok somewhere.
Excuse me, Roy?
We used the word chok somewhere in this in this piece that we've got there. Where is it? How did we use it?
I'm sorry, again, I didn't hear which word you were referring to. Which word was?
I think we used the word chok
Coke, right?
somewhere
That-
in this piece. But where
Right.
was it?
That
Yeah.
was in the first the end of the first 3-sentence paragraph.
And what was it? And what did it refer? I can't see.
It's on the first paragraph,
yes.
the last line. It says
Yeah.
the
Yeah,
first
I got-
word is hadivarim, and then it says chok.
Nice. So could you?
On.
So what's it? So what's the phrase in which the word chok appears?
It's so Matevi called the rhyme Chok Uzman Lasanahem, meaning the nature is given to keep the laws by which it's created, meaning that's the definition of nature. Nature, there are laws of nature.
Mhm. All right.
So um I'm not so to tell you the truth, I'm not so um the questions, I understand the questions, but I think we saw, as I pointed out on Erev Shabbos, if I'm not mistaken, we see many different examples where where things which, so to speak, which are what we look at inanimate and what we would say are natural, bound by natural laws, do in fact seem to exercise free will.
Right. So the Toldos Yaakov seems to be asking the same question I asked, which is, how do we understand that the point you just made is true, that the earth has free will, or that it has seichel,
Right.
so that you can give reward and punishment.
Right. So you could Right. Actual own.
Should we go on? Because the next thing it says is near a Lee. So maybe he's going to say an answer.
Okay, let's see where he's going to go with this.
V'hanira li bezeh she'ha'ayilnos. Hey, bye-bye, Judy. Have a good day. Haim shnei minim. It seems to me in this, sheha ilonos, the exalted.
No, Ilanos are trees, the trees.
The trees. Oh, the trees. That the trees are of two types.
Yes, right. When you look at trees, you have basically two types of trees.
Yesh ilonos shet toch hapri. There are those trees that they produce fruit. Shelo hazera v'kayim hamin. That the seed is established, that establishes the type.
To preserve the species.
To preserve.
Or continue the species.
Vahu hagarin.
That's the seed. The green's the seed.
And that is the seed. Mo pri eitz hadar, like the fruit of the beautiful tree, utamarim, and the dates, the chiyotze bahem, that come forth within them.
Right.
So it's like the beautiful date tree that has the fruit in it. The yesh, I'll note she'ein toch hapri zera, and there are those trees that there is not within it a fruit with seeds. Mo lozim, like the lozim, they are monim.
Right. Lozim are almonds, and the almonds and the aromonim are like walnuts.
Almonds and walnuts.
Actually, butnim, shkedim, it brings down butnim and shkedim also. So lozim, I think lozim might be a different type than the almond. Might be like a Brazil nut or something like that.
Could be a walnut.
Or maybe walnut, right?
Okay, so in other words, this is four types of trees that produce nuts.
Right.
V'chein v'kan ratza lichlul shnehem. And here it's desirable to curse the two of them.
Well, this is kolol to include both of them. Kolol means to include both.
To include both of them. meaning both types of tree.
Right.
Neged ha-ailanos she'ein betoch hapri gar-in. Corresponding to the trees that don't have within them fruit. What is gar-in?
Seeds.
Seeds. All right, same way we had before. So I thought nuts were seeds.
Yeah, well, yeah, but it's different. It's you have sometimes you have the seed, like with citrus fruits, you have the flesh of the fruit surrounding the seed. But here, when you have with nuts are different. Even though nuts might be the seed itself, but it's different. There's no flesh. There's no flesh around the seed.
Ah, okay. Okay. Trying to think of what like an oak tree. Well, I guess oaks have acorns. I guess all the trees have something like that.
Yeah, they must have something that they use to carry their seeds in one way or another.
Yeah. Okay. Amar eats pre, which is called a fruit tree. She'ein bo ella pre levad. That there is not, that there's only a fruit by itself. So this is referring now to the nuts.
Right. This is referring to nuts, right?
They're called fruit trees, but there's not a fruit by itself. There's only a fruit by itself. Oh, there's only a pre-levad.
Right. It's an eighth pre.
Nut is the fruit, but there's
Right.
no flesh.
Right.
Excuse me, that lozim, hazelnuts.
Oh, very good. Thank you, Roy.
Hazelnuts.
Okay.
Okay. Ukeneged ha'ailanos shehazera toch hapri, corresponding to trees that the seed is within the fruit.
Right. That's more of the other type of apples, peaches, nectarines, and all these type of fruits that have the seeds surrounded by a fruit.
Amar oseh pri le mino asher zera bo. It's called. No, it's not called. It says make a fruit for the type that the seed is in it.
Right. The fruit which has the seed within it. Right. Exactly.
The eights moshech atzmo v'achar amo. Eights oseh pri le mino asher zaro bo. A tree. What's moshech?
that extends from it. The Moshe Chatzmo, the tree extends from itself, and what comes out? Eitz pri. It comes out it comes from the wood a fruit.
What is achar amo?
Achar imo, I mean, and something else besides it. Eitz Moshe Chatzmo ba'achar imo. There's something that the tree extends, and something else is coming out along with it.
That is a fruit tree, a tree that makes fruit for its type, that the seed is in it.
Right. Let's see. Let's see what one more paragraph. We'll see if we can finish up and see.
Okay. Uma shamar v'zeh hamin oseh, and that it says in this, the type is made lefi shezeh oseh yoter min ha rishon, in accordance that this does more than the first one. Shezeh oseh shnei devarim, that this does two things. Oseh hapri, it makes a fruit, but oseh zaro, and it makes a seed.
Right.
Aval harishon ein oseh ella pri levad, but the first one only makes a fruit alone. V'zeh ha-perush nachon ma'od. And this is a very correct explanation. Although matzasi b'perushim acherim ta'am v'riach, and we don't find explanations, other explanations. What is riach?
Meaning he says he didn't find in any other explanations reasons and simplicity in it. He didn't find any basic simple explanation for this.
All right, Rabbi. Tomorrow,
Okay.
got some
All right.
explaining to do.
So he's basically just saying that he's leaving because of the difficulties we have in understanding the what he called the drush. So he's explaining it according to Pashut Pshat, which is basically it's talking about two different types of fruit, meaning nut tree. You have nut trees, and like citrus, where you have, I forget what they must be some scientific name for the trees that produce fruits with flesh, whatever it is, I'm not sure. But he says that's really what the pasuk is. You can understand Pashut Pshat in the pasuk like that, according to him. Okay, well that's not really helping us answer. He left the two questions unanswered, to tell you the truth. So we're still looking for an explanation, but we see that the questions are in fact serious questions. All right, I guess that's a good time for us to take a break here. And we'll see if we can't find something tomorrow to help us out of this.
Are we going to find an answer? Is there an answer? Or
No, we haven't found an answer. We're still looking. All right. Better to look and find than look and not find. So hopefully we'll find something.
okay, very good.
All right, take a short break. We'll all see you. Roy, have a good afternoon. And Lou and Mayor will see you in a few minutes with Allah.
All right, thank you, Rabbi.
Okay, thank you.